I'm in Jupe Bar, which is inside Burnley. And this area here used to be inhabited by the indigenous people of Burnley, which would be British. And as we look behind me, what we see in so many areas where people of what we call third world come into, and they call them Asians here, but in our country they're not Asians, because Asians means Chinese, Japanese. These are what we would call Middle Easterners. And when they come to an area like this, a lot of times you'll start to see an increase in crime, you'll see a dilapidation of buildings, basically a lowering of the standards of living. And we were getting ready to do a small report here, and these two fine ladies walked up and they said, "What are you doing down here? You don't want to be down here." And one lady still lives here, another one has moved out. I'm going to let them tell you, instead of me, what happens when different people move into an area from a different culture and what it imposes.
Well, what happens is, come on you.
What happens, right, they move into our community, and as you say, crime rate goes, sex, they're wanting our girls, you're walking down the road at night time and you're getting stopped, how much love and all that. We can't come out after dark, can we?
No, my daughter.
And the kids bully our kids.
Yeah.
Like, they all team up on our kids, so our kids can't play out, they've got to be in all the time. Do you know,
exactly.
on computer games?
Right.
Sorry.
On computer games, what else do they go on?
They can go to Library down road, and what it is my daughter. The reason why I moved from round here, my daughter.
How old is your daughter?
She's 13.
Okay.
And I used to live at number 5 on this street, and my daughter for last year I had to move because my daughter walking down the road with her dog, taking the dog out down at the bottom of the street where the big fields. Then there was Nation in a black car following her. Oh, come on, love, come on, love. No, I went mad about it. What would police do? Nothing. Not a thing.
Now, I've read about this here. It's called grooming.
Yeah,
correct?
It is. Exactly.
Now, in our country, grooming means combing your hair.
No,
but it's not here.
Yeah, it's like rape, getting ready for rape, or trying to get a young girl into bed, or whatever. They do anything to get a young girl into bed. We know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. But these young girls nowadays, they don't know it's wrong.
Right.
And it's wrong. It is grooming them.
At 12 and 13, it's a very impressionable age. You're not an adult yet. So I think they prey. Sometimes people like that prey on innocence.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
And the British are very kind people.
Yeah.
The indigenous people are very kind, tend to be very tolerant. And so I think that they're playing on that, and that's sinister. I mean, that's very sinister to prey on little girls.
I call it, what's that word? Ignorance. They're very ignorant against everything.
Our girls are here for their pleasure.
And I'm not being...
my daughter, she's 24-year-old, she was 12 and she was groomed up Bruncher.
Yeah.
And she ended up with I don't know how many Asians.
You are from this area originally, and you're basically now a prisoner in your own home at night.
More or less, yeah.
And you can't leave the community.
No, I won't want to, because I won't want to be on this main road, because this was a well-known prostitute road at one time. They have cleaned it up, but they use the whole area now, so wherever you are, people are trying to pick you up.
Well, many times on mainstream news, they talk about the enrichment that the diversity gives you, the culture that comes in gives you. Do you see it that way, or do you see it's more destructive?
More destructive.
Because your life has changed.
Yeah, an hell of a lot.
In the last, let's say, 20 years?
Oh, yeah.
And it used to be you were free to roam the streets, you didn't have to worry about being harassed, except for maybe an occasional person stumbling out of a bar yelling something, but other than that...
Fine, but now you can't.
And you were talking about the children, too, being what they call groomed here. And I know that's become a large issue. And there's been some issues over in Blackpool and different where they brought people up on charges, but a lot of times they let them go.
Yeah, I know they do. Like, there was the boy couple, male couple, who lived down on Daneshouse Road. They've groomed, I think it was 9 different lads in that house, and they've moved on to Blackburn. Right. But they've took a 17-year-old lad with them. And they have threesomes and stuff with him. Do you know, boys that aren't completely there, they take them in and groom them.
Right. Now, I notice behind me there's starting to be groups of people coming about, and they've called on their cell phones. So is that kind of like what they call a flash mob gathering?
Yeah.
And so this is what you live with on a daily basis?
Yeah.
That's hard to hear.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to hear when you can't go out to shop to get what you need. When your partner's out at night, you've got to sit in.
And what can you tell the people of the United States in the areas that have not dealt with this, but it is coming because mosques are being built, and we see people coming in from these areas just starting to filter in the last 2 years.
If they've got young girls, keep them close and try and get out of this town.
Right. So as we see, the mob is starting to collect around us, and I fear more than myself because I'll fight, but I don't want to see her get hurt. So we're going to go ahead and cut this interview short because it's starting to get a little bit hostile on the outer region, and there's more.
Can you see what I mean now, though?
Yeah.
Can you see what I mean?
Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it in the air. There's a gathering now, and you're outside, and it's getting kind of extreme. So we're going to cut this interview short, and we're going to take off out of here and go somewhere a little safer.
Yeah, I would.
What do you feel about Sharia law?
Well, I think about the Sharia law. That's Islamic law in an Islamic country, isn't it? That's what it is.
But how about here?
Here, I don't know because we're not in an Islamic country, are we? So we shouldn't really have a Sharia law in here.
Is there some point in time to where maybe you would like to see this become an Islamic country?
If it does become an Islamic country, it'd be a much better country. I can say that.
It'd be a much better country.
It'd be a much better country, yeah.
You think because there'd be more laws imposed, there'd be more discipline, or what?
It'd be more discipline.
That was cute. Whoa! All right. Well, there you go. There's a prime example of what I was just talking about. And it's something the mainstream media will never, ever discuss. And look how quickly it happened to us. A flash mob gathered within 5 minutes. And what happened? Well, as you see, what you didn't see was glass bombs coming down off the top floor as people were yelling and throwing them at them. The camera person was harassed. They were starting to block us in to where we couldn't leave. There were people behind the little alleyway getting ready with some sticks to come in and club me. So there was going to be a horde of 50 people descend upon me and the camera person and basically beat us to a bloody pulp. Now, this is something, like I said, the mainstream media will never cover. We had one fellow there trying to talk decently and 20 or 30 that was starting to get riled up just because we were there. What does this tell you? This tells you that this can never, ever work. Why? Because just as that lady that I was interviewing on the street, she has to hide at night. I cannot imagine the fear and trauma that has been placed upon her. She was scared to death. And I see why. Because they will kill her. They kill, they rape. Why? To me, to her, or to anybody that looks like me or believes in a Christian way or another way of. So there you go. There's a prime example of what the mainstream media will never show you. They get footage of it. They get footage all the time, but they will never show it to you. I was at a protest the other day, and mainstream media showed up, BBC, Sky News. There was a kid there holding the communist flag. It was the sickle and the star, the red communist flag. And what they were doing was protesting a store that was selling halal meat. And so basically you cannot get ham in a halal meat store because it's illegal through Sharia law. And this store, it was a Subway shop, and they were selling ham sandwiches. but it's not ham, it's turkey that tastes like ham. So it's illegal to do that in England because it's false advertising, but they were doing it. And really no one was coming down onto them. So a political party decided to protest. But on the other side of the street, there was this fellow holding a communist flag. And he was talking about the people on the other side being fascist. But I really wanted to ask him, I didn't get the chance to, but I really wanted to ask him, do you understand what that flag stands for? How many people were murdered under that flag? You talk about fascism, communism's way stepped up from fascism. And now you're dealing with what we just witnessed down there. No mainstream media will ever cover the bullying that just tried to ensue. It's a little tough to bully me, but that lady was scared to death. The camera person scared to death, ran to the car, locked the car doors, and a glass bottle come flying down right beside as they were getting into the car. From 3 stories, who knows what would have happened? But would the police done anything about it? No. Why? Because they don't want to cover it. They don't want to cover the truth. The truth is, mostly, white people are bullied. They're bullied by that right there when you go into that neighborhood. They keep escaping to these gated communities, but at a certain point you're not going to be able to escape anymore because you've already run just about as far as you can run. Children. I was talking to a youth down beside the canal when we were doing a little interview. He told me that you cannot leave school by yourself here. And this is in Burnley, England, okay? Heartland, industrial, used to be a lot of working people here in the mills and all that. You cannot leave school if you're white by yourself. Why? Because they throw you into the canal. They steal your phone. You heard the lady say they steal your phone, they steal your computer, they steal whatever, and the cops do absolutely nothing about it. Geez, that makes me wonder why. Why does the cops do nothing about it? After the riots here in 2001, they had massive riots like you've seen down there. They went through and started burning and destroying. What did the city do? Well, it's kind of like you got a troublemaker. So what do? It used to be you would reprimand the troublemaker. You'd get them in trouble. But no, the Burnley City Council, what they did was gave the Muslims a massive college, a college that used to teach trade skills in carpentry, electrical, plumbing, engineering, things that are very valuable to a community. They take this school and they give them this. Well, it was 1.8 million, but you'll see a clip of the school in a minute, worth way more than 1.8 million. That wouldn't even begin to build one wing of it. So as these, I call them Bolshevik communists that run these city councils, they want the destruction of Western world. They want people to be scared. They want that white lady down there to be scared. They want her to fear for her life, and she does. I could see it in her eyes, and that's why both of them split. One of them got a phone call that there was a flash mob happening. That's why she split. And they knew that there was trouble to ensue. Why? Because you're just standing there. This is in the center of England. They're British, and they can't stand on their own streets. That's the real story.